All right, there we go. Um, yeah, I started with the wrong settings. uh, I think we're good as far as I'm aware. Seem to be live and all that. Um, so, uh, sorry, just shifting the mic around. So last time, I made locations, buildings, and rooms. So the player is now able to navigate through a series of rooms, locations, and buildings, and they can leave out of enter through various entrances and exit the way they came in, or find the other exit. Um, so that's all good. That all worked for the most part until I realized I hadn't changed a property properly. So that was fun, but we got there in the end. And now I want to potentially try and do a combination of prototyping and design. So I want to make a sort of a loot table system. I've kind of made one in the past a bit, but not quite fully. So we're going to try and figure it out because it might be rather entertaining. Uh, so yeah, I need to figure out the concepts for this. So I'm thinking that's not good. I need to yeah, let's think about this. Where do I start? I'm thinking of enterprise architect branch. It's funny, EA and EA are two different things. Um, right, so I need to make a new project. New file, system model, so this is going to be fixed. The really cool thing is, because this isn't in the Unreal Engine, I don't have to worry about generating code from here, because it just works. So we're going to do that. It does kind of annoy me. It generates default classes because it's like I don't see a scenario where somebody's actually going to use this as is. But there we go. Right. So for those who don't know, this is this is Enterprise Architect. It's a UML tool. UML is Uniform Modeling Language. And somewhere there's a toolbox thing I can add. Normally it's here by default. Can I reset? That's annoying. It's not part of this, is it? It is. There we go. Right. So if I close that down for now, I probably don't need that. Okay, so let's just add a note, which I think is that. There we go. Cool. Right. So we're making a loot system. So this is just some ideas. So we need the concept of, so there's loot, item, because loot and item could be conceptually different. We'll see what happens. What else do we need to think about here? So there's loot tables. So this is the important bit. So the loot tables are going to be like so like is it on player location building room state of the world slash game. Okay, so that's important. So like if we're designing a loot system, we want to consider what things could impact it. I'm just wondering if I can. Oh, that's interesting. Not quite what I had in mind. Go to 14. I can actually read that. I didn't intend to do that. Well, that would do, right. So we can add to this as we go. So what's really cool is if I go here. No, come on. Huh? Okay, I don't know where it went. Pin. Thank you. Right. Okay, let's just get rid of these. I don't use these at all. Not useful. So if we go here, we can go code, import directory, Java, SPC, give me dev, Java projects, text-based survival and source. And in theory, do we want to, let's keep it like that. That should do it. Right, so what that's done is actually import all of the current classes we have. So all the Java classes we made. So if I open this, obviously it's going to look like a horrific mess. But if we default layout, do it twice because it's a bit hit and miss. Neaten, auto root. Yeah, okay, it's going to be a bit messy. But nevertheless, all of our existing classes are in here and exist. So, for instance, if we wanted to do one that had like just the room system in, so I go new diagram class, and we pull in building, thank you, room, and location. That's interesting. It hasn't pulled in the references. Normally that would have found it. Doesn't seem to think it has an association to them, so I guess, oh well, whatever. In theory, this should be this, directed association, properties, roles. I think it's a variation. Why do I not see? Oh, right, yeah, it's that relationship, and it's like a 0 to many. It'll probably be a 1 to many. Yeah, and then this would be, the building always has to have 1 and only 1. There we go. So this is like the numbers here. So this is saying location has a direct relationship to this, which means it has it's like actually got this class utilized inside it, and it needs at least one of them to exist. So you can't have a location without a building, but it can go up to currently infinite. And then buildings have a one-to-one relationship to locations. So a building will only be in one location, which might change in the future. And then we have the same premise for rooms. So we go here, and it's exactly the same. Basically, it's 1. Nope, not 1. and on room it's entrance rooms, and there's another one for just rooms, but I'll just leave it at that for now. You can have multiple relationships to the same class. So then we have this, and then you can have building choice. See, it's done it for building choice. I think it can't interpret array list. That's probably why. And then if we have a location choice, that should, that links it to that. And then room choice links to that. See, now we've got a much cleaner diagram to work with. Do that, neon, auto route, whatever, cool. It's as close as I would do. Doesn't matter too much. So that's an example with an existing system. So you can see all their properties and attributes and operations and blah blah blah. So and these are all inherit from choice. So if I drop this in here, it will link to all of them. And you just do that. Close enough. Don't know why it can't seem to go to the center there, but it's whatever. Wonderful. So this is like our room, our travel exploration system. So if I rename this to my, probably not properties. Is that not the properties of this? There we go. Always double click. What are we calling this again? This is going to be system. There we go. Right. And then we want to make a new one. Wait, where is that? There we go. We'll just rename this one. This one can be loot system. Right. Doesn't want to save, so who knows. Get rid of that. Don't really want the overall one. It's pointless. It doesn't explain anything. Now we can get rid of this. Right. So we have the player, so we can at least drag the player in. And I think we've got reward as well. Reward is a little generic at the moment, but it kind of serves the purpose. So let's say, so we have this idea of items, right? So we've got item, properties. That's not what I'm looking for. I want to, is it, enter? There's that properties, but that's not quite what I'm after. Can I reset to default? I seem to have lost a lot of things on here, so I'm just wondering. Manage, no. It's toolbox, this view. There's like a, that's a way of doing it somewhere, perspectives. It's so close to being standard with everything else, but it's not quite there yet. This is an older version. I would be curious to see what a newer version is. So this didn't actually cost that much. So I could have sworn I just want to like do a reset on what I'm looking at the moment, so I can. Is it portals? Is that what they call it? It was always something weird. Because there's like perspectives. Damn it, there's a way of showing it down there. That's all I was looking for. Oh, okay, whatever, we'll do this. Because it's this screen and it should come up like down here, but it doesn't matter that much. Professional. Okay, yeah, no, maybe it does. And it's, yeah. Okay, I might be able to update it for like £100 or something. Might look into that at some point. Anywho, so items obviously gonna have a name. It's weird that it doesn't have string. It's like because it's Java. I find that it's just unusual, but who knows? Right, so do we actually need any other information? Let's think about this. So let's say trying to think of some requirements here. So okay, so if we do another thing, so it's like player. Oh, I always do searches for some reason. Right. Player searches a room. Player gets, I don't know, 2 metal and 3 wood. Okay. So we're picking up items. So do items stack? Is the stack limit? It's the player carry weight. Just going through all of the basics. Can the player refuse to pick up items? Just running through like the standard, you're in a RPG picking stuff up. What things matter? What happens? What can you do with it? So we're creating a survival game. Typically, you would have carry weight and inventory space. But we are in a text-based survival game, which doesn't really change the nature of it necessarily, but we obviously somehow getting the player to change position of items in their inventory seems redundant when there isn't a visual representation of it besides a list. So that seems a bit pointless. So what else can we do? The question is, do we limit the player? Do we want to make have a do we want them to have to make decisions about the items that they take in and out? Because this is kind of going to be almost like an extraction shooter as a text-based game, which is an interesting prospect. I'm thinking it will work similar to, like, I don't know, Darkest Dungeon even, where you take what you want, go in, and then leave. Let's work on the assumption that all of this exists and we can just not put the code in for it until we actually want to start caring about it. Okay, so oh, wrong one. So let's say there's weight, which just could be an integer. Stack limit. Let's be consistent. I'm gonna go with underscores things. Again, I don't think this adds too much more complexity. That should be fine. And I mean, the player now needs like an inventory, so we probably ought to have an inventory. Oh, an inventory. I always do that. There we go. Right. So for instance, we go here, direct association. We want to add a attribute. Call it items. Its type is of, and now we actually select the item. There we go. So type alias, and then we have 0. Oh, hand, that's not what I'm looking for. It's collection. There we go. True. Does that not? Or did I not save it? No, I did save. Okay. And then we go on here and we do the usual roles. Items. And this is 0 to many. And 1. Perfect. Right. That makes sense. Wonderful. Okay. And then the player is going to also have an inventory. And it selects this inventory, and that's just a simple 1-to-1. Oh, wait. Come on, there we go. Right. Might as well do this. Don't know why it doesn't. Oh, good grief. Why is it doing that? Whatever. Right. That looks good. Player's got an inventory. Inventory has items. Right. So we're getting the basics done there. So now we need the idea of like loot tables and things. Because so an item doesn't have an amount. The amount is defined in the inventory or the reward because it's an amount of an item. So what we actually need, because I think reward is basically what we're looking for, but it needs to be called something different from the inventory's perspective. And I've done this in my other game where we have inventory item. So what we do is we break this relationship and we create a new, and if I go here, new class, inventory item, and then we have item ID, amount. I think that's all it needs for now. Oh, this can just be item. Okay, there we go. So this is an amount of an item. Yeah, that's fine. And now we have this. So this is a different kind of role. So inventory item, we have item. So this is going to be a 1, but on here it's going to be a 0 to 1. Or are you creating, oh, actually we're creating items once each. They're going to be a static list of single items that the inventory item then references. So it's going to be 0 to many. Yeah. And then this one is going to reference items. Zero to many. I suppose it would have to be. It's just 1, isn't it? Yeah. Oh. And then we come in here, change this type to inventory item. And there we have it. All right. So now we can control that. Now this is kind of what reward is, which makes sense, but it's not technically the same. So the way we would do this, how do I explain this? Yeah, so we would make this a specialization. Oh no, generalization, sorry. So this is a generalization. Is that the right way? We're saying this inherits from that. So if I get rid of that, it's, yeah, okay. I'll leave the name in. Actually, let's just blank it for now. So, because this is a unique version of an inventory item where, so let's say just for the sake of argument, we had a quest. So we go here, we have quest, and we go properties, roles, swap them over. I could have done it from here. And a has 1 to many of those, or 0 to many. Probably a 0 to 1. And then this, a quest, will have reward, which is of type reward, and it's a collection. There we go. Okay, so quests have rewards, but rooms will have loot. So if I bring in our room, this is where it gets interesting. So this is where all of this comes in. What defines where the loot, what the loot has. So we could, if we were so inclined, do this, generalization, do this. I won't actually add to it yet, but there we go. So we could say room has loot, and of course, same as usual, one to many. It could be 0 actually. 0 to 1. Because loot could come from other places. Okay, so now we're saying, because these are, even though it's an inventory item still, these are conceptually different from each other. From the code, it doesn't make any difference, but it makes sense from a sort of implementation point of view to keep them separate, so that when you're dealing with rewards, separate to loot, okay, whatever, they can't put the wrong thing in the wrong place, and it always makes sense what you're looking at the time. Yeah, it doesn't do that so well. So, in theory, if I do this, I go generate all, don't know why it didn't put them the default where I got them from, but so let's see what this is going to do real quick. That looks promising. So if I hit generate, oh, hang on. Close. This should now oh, okay. I don't know why it's doing that. Ah. Why has it put the package like that? Okay, whatever. Should this not? There we go. There's like a find in entire project somewhere, I'm sure. Is it that? I did this last time and I had to do it in something else, but it says find and replace. The scope doesn't seem to exist. Why can't I do that, I wonder? Okay, well, I'll have to... Oh. Don't know why... Right. Close all... No, no. No, it's not source. Show in System Explorer. Source. Why has it done that? Okay, I'll have to figure that out again in a bit. And we go back here. Okay, looking good. And if I close things down, let's start tidying this up. See, here we go. Right. I mean, obviously it generated the code. So we now have inventory items here. It's got some authoring things and finalize. Don't know why, but there we go. Right. It's not perfect, but it did make all of the classes for us and populate them with some things. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then as I change it in the design, it will change here as well as I regenerate them. So I should be... It's interesting because it's gone source. Yeah, it's gone... Some of them it's gone source games inventory. So how has it managed that? Source Belvin games item. Source Belvin games and source games. Yeah, that's weird. They're in the location, but they're not. It's not found their thing, their right place. I'm not sure why. So in theory, I think if I go properties, files, oh. I thought that's how it did this. Okay, so if I import code, I cancel, go here, import code. Oh wait, I think if I move this out and I delete this, and I then do it from here, it should keep the direction, the namespaces correct. Okay. Why have we got two? I don't know how we could possibly have ended up with duplicates of things. That one's packaged games. That one's packaged games, okay. 1736. 1718. So I'm guessing, and just I don't know why have we got to oh hang on, I can just delete this. If I delete all of this and then I do import code again. That's kind of the point. Oh, for God's sake, I clicked in the wrong place. Always do it from the root directory. At least it's quick. Right, and if I now go on the loot system, and just drag that stuff in. Do design layout. Okay, inventory. Interesting. I'm not sure why I ended up with a player link on the inventory. Did I add that? I might have done. Oh, okay. That's fine. Do we have, yeah, we have quest, reward, inventory item, blah, blah, blah. Right, perfect. Well, there you go. I mean, there's a good example. And if I delete that finalize on there, I should be able to go advanced. No, it's code engineering, generate. I think. Damn, it doesn't delete it. So if I instead go code engineering, synchronize, right. And if I do delete from model, I want to see if it can delete things. I don't think it can, which is a shame. Yeah, that's weird. I wonder why. Oh well, we're gonna get rid of that anyway. Alright, well, we're closer. It's obviously it's done the right thing this time. Hasn't blattered over all the packages. It seems to have two types of reward for some reason. Sure. Player has an inventory. Cool. Inventory item. Start one. I feel like I should have pressed the other button, but whatever. Cool. Okay, so it doesn't do collections like arrays, unfortunately. I'd imagine potentially there's a plugin or something to that effect. Oh, it's array list. We go. Player. Quick gear and setter. Right. That'll do. Keep it simple. Bit of a recursive, one knowing about the other, but I don't think we need to worry about that. So we could do source, gets and says, select gets, source, structure, clear it up a bit. Cool. And then again, if I go to item in here, let me go synchronize. There it is. It's got all the stuff we changed. If I do this and hit F7, auto sorted. Right, so that's everything. So we've got the get item inventory. The inventory is now an array list. Blah blah blah. So things are coming together. Actually, I'm just gonna look something up real quick. Yeah. So I just realized a few things can come up on stream, which isn't good. But a bit late now, so whatever. um, yeah, okay. What's that? That's weird. Yeah, I'll have to look into that more often. Oh, whatever. Yeah, okay. Right, I'll sort that out in a bit. So what have we got? So conceptually everything's here. And consequently here. We obviously need to do the same thing for this. Mate. Generate conjunctive comments here. Cool. Need to pay more attention to stuff like this. Right, so now these are going to have some problems. Which is fine, because that's the point. We're gonna change name. I might keep. No, we're just gonna get rid of all of it and start from scratch because this was just a that'll do situation. Which will break this because it should have get item, get name. There we go. The power of encapsulation, people, because we were using rewards in here, and the reward now inherits from inventory item, which has an item. So we need to go from the reward to the item to get the name. All good fun. And this. Oh, yeah, wait, what is it? Amount and item. So in here, so you get 5 and then it's new item. Item should not have a default constructor, funnily enough. You can go away. So we want test item 1, 1, 1. So I think should be, yeah, stack limit and weight. Let's go 10. Obviously we haven't done anything about inventory items and stacking and finding space and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter too much. Like I said, we can implement the concept, we just don't actually have to utilize it in the code until we're ready to. It's kind of better to over-engineer something and remove functionality or just omit it entirely, because adding becomes extremely problematic once you're fairly set in stone. Whereas if you future-proof things a bit more and kind of make a few more assumptions, you do tend to get past a couple of issues early on. But that's just been my experience with software engineering anyway. Okay, so we haven't actually fundamentally changed anything. We've just added more variety to the game. Right, so inventory choice, for example, can do p dot get inventory dot get items, and this is going to be an inventory item, and then it's going to be ii dot get amount, and then ii dot get amount get item dot get name. There we go. So this isn't based on rewards anymore. So the next thing, so in order to actually get rewards, we need room choices to generate the search option. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a search choice. Okay. And a search choice will have loot, right? So this is where we start thinking a bit more in depth about it. I think I'm just gonna pop to the loo before I start, and I will be back imminently. All right, now there we go. So this is where it gets a bit more involved. So we have a lot of different possibilities for things that can influence loot in the game. What's the best approach for this? I mean, can I just go and paint or something? I don't know why the canvas size is like absolutely ridiculously small. Pixels like, I don't know. Okay, damn, right. All right, so let's think about this. So all right, that's I can do that. Cool. Sorry, I keep moving the mic all over the place. So okay, so if we have, say, how do I represent this stuff? All right, let's keep it like this. I like conceptually. So if we had that, can we also? So this is going to be centered. So can you make a small hexagon out of other hexagons? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's make a diamond. Or is that? I'm just gonna draw some lines. Whatever, fuck it. We'll just segment this. Let's give it like each of these is like a different location. Right, just something like that, different sizes of regions or something, so that this could be like the mountains. We seem to be rather small there. Can I move things? Yeah. Right, so if this was like the mountains, and then we would have, so this is a location, and then I guess we would want, let's just keep this real simple. So there's like building, 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 building. Okay, cool. And then again here, there could be like a big one, lots of small ones, variety, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if we're exploring, we kind of want to, what am I thinking of here? So we're going to enter a region. So if I just draw like red or something, so we come in through here. Let's make that figure. It's going to be, yeah, that's fine. Right, there we go. So we like enter here. We could go here, go here, go here, and like back out. And we could have a quest. So let's make this quest would be like, I don't know. Oh, wolves or something. Wolves. Right. Make that black. Right. And so the quest could have like a difficulty, right? So it could be like T3. I move this, right? And then, so we come in here, and then the mountains area could be like difficulty 2. And then this building could be T1. Let's make this, I don't know, blue, for instance. Right, and then this could be like difficulty 4, and so on. Right. So you're doing a quest that's this challenging, and then but you're going to a location that's this challenging, but a building that has that level challenge and that and so on. And this is where like loot tables get a little convoluted, because the obvious solution is like take the highest difficulty. So, you know, that's impressive. I wasn't expecting paint to have actual spell checker in it. Okay, so that's option 1. The other one is like average difficulty. And then you could argue that the quest would overall dictate highest difficulty, so it'd be like quest sets max. Oh goodness me. Right, and in this instance, we're doing a tier 3. We could potentially stop you from going in buildings that are of too high difficulty, or drop them down to match the difficulty. So it'd be like event to right, but it could also limit it you to exploring to low T areas. Right, so there's the inverse. Right, because maybe you can't do that quest in areas that are too low, or the fact that you've chosen that quest is that it sets the lowest. So there's all this different sides to it, and it makes it very challenging to I don't know why I selected the base one. I'm trying to move all of this. Right. There we go. That's a bit better. So what the hell do we do? So we've got to figure this out. This is the tricky bit. So creating loot tables is easy. You just have a selection of available items, and then you limit it by the buildings. So you probably wouldn't find, you know, weapons in, I don't know, just a library or something, right? You might, then there might be a store request that forces that to happen, but generally speaking, you're not. So then the question comes, okay, so you've limited it by the area, so you're only going to find certain kinds of items in it as a whole, then by the building, but then also by the room. And so you have this you have this it's going to be a bit awkward blah blah blah. Right, so you got this list, and so you go into a certain building, so these get removed. Then you're in a certain room, so these get removed, and it's like, well, cool. So at some point, you need to save things, stop things from being removed, and simultaneously allow things to remain, I guess, to be manipulated or spread out. So let me just save this picture in here so it'd be useful. I'll just call it. That would do. Okay, so I think what makes sense is when we enter an area, so types of loot available, are limited. Hang on. Yeah, okay. I was meant to move it. So then when we move into, let's go here, building. This would be loot table. It's created building. And then internally, so let's just draw it out across. Just go up to here, and we can, like, I don't know, freehand some. Doesn't really matter that much. I'm just gonna divvy this up. Kind of terrible idea to have used circles for buildings. I don't know why I did. Alright, let's just use an actual square. There we go. Building. Alright, and then we just add extra ones. Thank you. Not being too picky there, that would do. Just to be clear as to what's going on. And then we could have loot is distributed around the rooms, according to their types. So let's explain this a bit better. I think this is the way I want to go. I gotta think it through a bit more. So if we did it like this, let's see. So we might end up with like, I don't know, let's do this in orange or something. So this could be like wood, stone, bandages, I don't know, ammo, guns, melee weapons, right? So that's the types of things that are available. And then I should have done that a bit differently. It doesn't matter. And then here, the loot table, so building only has which is any weapons and wood. And then amount of items is calculated and spread between rooms. Something to that effect. So we could end up with like, I don't know, bandages, wood, something like that. It wouldn't quite work like that, but that's a pretty good visual representation of it. I'm just gonna tidy it up a bit because it's just a bit messy. Do that. I mean, that's kind of fine. That's well, let's just get rid of those, are pointless. Yeah. So, and then we could have a caveat where here in purple, which is quests in locations, adds their loot to the overall loot table. Building with quest specific loot will be forced to have it at the right quantities, or and let me pull this across. So building the quest specific loot will be forced to have at the right quantities, or quest loot is spread around all the buildings randomly. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, so now let's do an example for quest loot. So let me see. Let's do, I just need some places to write. So if we now enter through here, we do this. Let's say quest collects 5 batteries. So you could argue in most games where they do quests like this, or just generic gather an item quest, they wouldn't actually forcibly spawn the items necessarily. They just know that those items can exist, and usually in greater quantities than what you're looking for. So, when they say go and gather so much grain from the farm, there's obviously it's a farm and there's probably going to be like 20 stacks of the stuff dotted around the place. But what I'm thinking is there could be like hang on, so like 2 batteries spawn here, 0 here. Oh dear. 3 spawn here. Right. So now you've got all the other stuff going on, but you're starting a quest in this location, and it preemptively decides which buildings have what quest loot in them, unless the quest specifies otherwise. I think that won't make sense. So you could, for instance, also have quest turn on power power plant. That is the lightest green ever. And then this building could be called this one could be like power plant, right? And then obviously this would just be, there we go, right. And that's kind of a part of the loot system in a way. It could be like picking up an item, but the premise is the same. It's just, there are things in locations. You can have multiple things happening at the same time, and they will influence each other. Works for me. Yeah, I don't think there's anything more to it. Okay. So I think what would happen. So now we need to determine the building loot spawn specifically. Right, so if we just didn't hear, I don't know, just some massive ass building. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's think about the actual loot spawning. So how does a building determine from the list? Okay, so let's do this in, I don't know, dark brown, I guess. So buildings have types that filter items that can spawn besides quest items. Actually quite like doing it in paint. It's pretty trill. Trill. I do like the trill, but trivial. Okay, so buildings dictate the types of items that spawn based the building difficulty and the item rarity. So yeah, so if the player enters a high-level building and there are high-level guns available in the area, or melee weapons or medical supplies, then obviously that building has a higher chance of having those types of items, providing the building is of that type. I think that makes sense. And then so item quantity is dictated by item rarity at building difficulty. So just because something might spawn in a building, it might not necessarily spawn a lot of them. However, if the building is like a weapons factory or something, but it's like a low-level one, it could potentially spawn a lot of guns rather than just one. Something to that effect. And equally with like medical supplies, if you enter a hospital. So I guess that should be dictated by item rarity. And I can be clever with the rubber here. Okay. Building type and haha, close enough. You almost couldn't tell. So dictated by rarity, type, and difficulty. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Oh, someone's got their tumble dryer on upstairs. Right. I'm deciding whether I continue this or go and do something else. I'm not sure whether I've run out of thought process for this at the moment. Not that it's particularly challenging. I've just been playing like Darktide and things, which which is yeah, quite intense. But that's coming together. So from the code perspective, we need obviously a variety of items. We need building types. We need location, loot tables. Let's call them loot filters. The loot table is the actual loot, I think, is what I'm going for. Maybe. Who knows? I'll figure out the terminology better later. It doesn't matter necessarily, it's just conceptually what makes sense at the time. And yeah, and then quest items can interfere with all of this. So if somebody's left their gun at their house, then you know you're going to go and pick it up from there. All that kind of stuff. If you have a quest, that is. Yeah, and then a similar premise can be the same, in fact, an identical concept can be applied to fighting. So the enemy spawns. So the location can dictate what can spawn, then the building, and then consequently the quests. And perhaps the rooms might determine whether they can have a fight in them at all or not. So that would be cool. I've got a couple of good ideas for how to make the room searching a bit more interactive potentially. And I like the idea of maybe having hidden rooms and loot that you can find in specific rooms that don't appear on the loot tables, but they do at a random chance, guaranteed. Like after a while, I'll give it to you or something. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Yeah, I could do that. That'd be quite entertaining, I suspect. Um, yeah, so I think I got it figured out. It's just a case of actually implementing it now. Which, yeah, I think I'm going to stop and do something else for a bit. So, thanks for watching if you're here, or did, and I will see you guys around.